Don't do that to me. Yeah. This whole time I'm thinking I'm agreeing with that guy. So no, let me tell you what happened. I thought he psyched you, so I turned to Dylan and I go, you got psyched, bitch. But now it makes sense because he thought I said that to him, you idiot. Holla, what's up? We're back. Team Joystick. It's been 1 week.
It has been, yeah.
That was a weird way to phrase all of that. But we're here and it feels great. Listen, we have a crap load to talk about. I don't know why this is like a weekly show, but a lot went down in a week, and we're gonna talk about.
There's some week, honestly. There's like some mid weeks. There's some pretty shit weeks. It's like real life.
This was a packed week. This was a packed week, whether we liked it or not.
Indeed.
Before we get into anything, it'd be helpful if you like this episode, subscribe to Team Joystick, and of course, check out some of the topics we got here because we're getting into every single one of them. We're getting into them, and this is like one of the first ones where I actually know what they all are.
Yeah,
so.
It's not just like what did we talk about.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to start this off just by saying that Team Joystick is officially your new favorite bad boy YouTube channel. We broke a rule.
We've been naughty a little bit.
We violated YouTube's hate speech code of conduct. I know that might be hard for you to hear out there, that your favorite YouTube channel, Team Joystick.
Yeah, it was actually for Chef's son because it turns out COD in Russia, bro.
Yeah, right.
Nah, don't say it. Don't say it.
No, fun. That episode came out after the fact.
Yeah.
When I first got the violation, I was very scared, thinking that it would have been one of the newer episodes of the podcast or the pilot of season 1 of Chef's Son, but in actuality it ended up being like a super old Battle Block Theater let's play from our first year of doing YouTube.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I could find that if I didn't follow the channel. Right? How would the algorithm find it?
And what I found interesting is like YouTube should do this thing where and I'm not saying that they should do it, they do it, but it didn't work. It's supposed to take your video and then segment whatever the problem is. And then it's like, here's the problem we found. Right. But when it took me to that panel, it's like the video couldn't even find it. So it just wanted me to sit and watch the entire 11-minute Let's Play. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And I'm pretty sure I know what it was. And it was because that was one of Jose's first episodes. And Jose, he N-bombed it. But Jose actually, used to say that in his vernacular all the time. So we had to make that choice where we were like, he's not saying it offensively or targeting anybody, really, he's just using it. And then to further that, I don't know how the YouTube algorithm would know he's not black. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like a whole other thing.
I ain't even think of that.
Weird, right? Not that it matters, but it's
it does. Like a robot can't tell race.
A robot can't tell race. Really, so how would it know? Like it's hate speech.
Unless it's a really good robot. Yeah. But regardless, we had a warning. It was just a warning. It wasn't a strike. And I was like, this is annoying. And that was basically, how do you get rid of this? And YouTube was like, you can take a training to get rid of the warning. And I was like, fuck it, what's the training? Turns out the training is just a 7-question questionnaire of the most brain dead shit you've ever heard in your life. It's like Bill wants to upload a YouTube video where he says all black people are the world's problem and must die. Does this violate YouTube's code of conduct? And you just have to be like, yes. And then YouTube's like, yes, this violates YouTube's code of conduct because it's hate speech. And then there'd be another one where it's like, Camille uploads a video where a person in a documentary claims that the Holocaust wasn't real. Does this violate blah blah? And I'm like, no, it does not, because it's part of a documentary.
So question, you saying their sentences, will this video get covered?
We'll see. We'll throw it out.
I will find it so funny if that it actually instead taught you how to be bad and how to be racist.
Yeah, right.
Like, what if they said this and you're like, I didn't even know that was racist. Let me start using that.
Yeah, imagine you see that, like, I should be more like this.
Yeah, hey, Camille, good job, hey.
And I just found it funny because, I think we've all personally seen a lot worse on YouTube, like, just people expressing their opinions, gay people flexing their buttholes.
I was about to say,
it's been the Wild West out here lately.
I mean, there's front and back on YouTube,
Yeah. But point is, I took the training.
Thank you.
Wouldn't you believe it? Aced it 7 out of 7.
No way.
And in 90 days, our warning will be taken off permanently.
Nice.
It's scheduled for December 4th, so get ready, guys. It's on my calendar.
December 3rd, I'm dropping every
N-bomb.
every type of slur.
We were this close to firing Jose and like going on a hiatus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to fire Dylan because you were fucking late, pal.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all right because I was kind of late to our other endeavor that we did earlier in the week.
Correct.
That was a fun time.
It was.
So Dylan and I went to Dylan and I did the Dylan Joey, which is where you guys go to a concert.
Yeah.
And I got to do that with Dylan, which is a really funny thing because it wasn't even supposed to be you in the first place. It was supposed to be Jerry.
Right.
But Jerry couldn't go for an even better reason, which we're going to get to soon. But Dylan and I went to the city. We went to Webster Hall my first time. It was
Correct.
a cool venue.
It was a cool venue.
And we watched Royal Blood, one of my personal favorite bands of all time. I hyped Dylan a lot. I told him that they're one of the best live acts to watch. I told him that regardless of whatever he thought, you're gonna leave that show just going.
And also,
like,
it's a band I listen to.
How the fuck is
some
that
songs
two
with.
people?
Yeah.
But real quick, what did you think?
Fucking sick. I mean, honestly, when I got there, I didn't know what to expect, but like, especially in terms of like just lights and performance, they nailed it. Like, it was.
How about that audience, Dill?
Yeah.
How about that Dylan and I were the minority.
Yeah. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Royal Blood. They're pretty young guys. They're young whippersnappers.
Yeah, probably early 30s.
Yeah, they started the band. I mean, their first album came out 2014, right?
Like that,
yeah, so like they're not that old of a band. There was maybe only like a dozen people that were probably younger than me and Bobby. Mm-hmm. And all those people that were younger were with their parents.
Yeah, because the majority of the people at that show were like middle-aged people.
Yeah, and even when they were middle-aged, they were at least a good like 35, 40, you know?
Yeah. And it was like weird. At one point, I was looking up at the balconies, and I was like, "That's where all the young people are at." I was like, even Dylan said there was like 2 rows of just dads with trucker hats and shit like that, and then in the middle was like one scene girl with tattoos, and Dylan is like, it's like they're all forming a line to protect that one girl.
And it turned out they were together. It turned out like 4 of them. It was 3 adults and a young girl. I was like, this is crazy. I didn't even expect this.
But it was a vibe. It was a great concert.
On guard,
it was
man.
a very fun time.
Yeah.
Even the opening band was kind of sick. Super punk rock.
They were like they were like the I in the best way possible. They were like a movie punk band.
Yeah, I told
they were
Dylan,
like a high school like these British dudes just came out.
I told Dylan, I was like, they're like the reincarnation of the Sex Pistols or something.
Yeah.
Like they even have like the one guy with spiky hair. They're from London or whatever, from Britain.
Wow.
But they were a good time. It was a good show. And then we left, and the night continued into something I really didn't think it would actually continue to. Yeah. We went for some post-concert McDonald's, not before stopping at a head shop so that we could refuel with a nice pre-roll. Shout outs to my boy. I wish I could remember his name, but that guy was the homie.
A nice place too.
Really,
like,
homie.
Whenever I see like a bodega or smoke shop that's really nice, I want to go in and be like, "Nice job you're doing here."
Yeah,
you know,
nice.
Props to you, sir.
Very nice.
You're tidy.
But you know, we left and then we walked around. What was it, Union Square Park? We got some McDonald's, and then on the walk back, Dylan informed me that there was a 24-hour donut spot that we had to go to, which I'll get to in a second. That was pretty fire. And we had to walk, about like 8 minutes to get to it. So we walked, the length of one block of Union Square Park, and halfway down that block there was a street performer.
Yeah, this guy's been there the whole time, by the way.
He's been there the entire time.
Yeah.
And he is quite literally dancing for himself. They're like nobody else. He's just by himself with the speaker, doing the pop.
Nighttime, 11 p.m. robot.
Probably like a 40-year-old Hispanic guy, right? Cool. Doing his thing. Me and Dylan walk by. He puts his hand up to Dylan, and he's like, high five. And Dylan goes to high five the guy, and the guy goes, psych, and takes the hand away and like keeps dancing. So I look at Dylan. What?
Wait, did you not know this?
What?
He was mad because I was the one that psyched him.
You psyched?
Yeah, that's why he was mad. That's why he chased that. Okay, we'll get to it.
Don't do that to me. Yeah. This whole time I'm thinking I'm agreeing with you. So no, let me tell you what happened. I thought he psyched you, so I turned to Dylan and I go, you got psyched, bitch. But now it makes sense because he thought I said that to him, you idiot. I thought he psyched you. I'm here calling Dylan a bitch, and this guy thinks I'm calling him a fucking bitch. Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Hunter, fucking, you get the door for the kitty cat.
Oh man,
so fucking
that's crazy.
So I look at Dylan and I'm like, you guys psyched, bitch. And then the guy's like, what you say, bitch, you punk ass? And I'm like, this guy's ass. I'm pointing at Dylan, and he's like, you're ass. And that's when I'm like, oh, he's mad at me now. So I'm like, whatever, leave it alone. And then he's like, you're a pussy, bitch. You're a pussy. And I'm like, all right, buddy, sounds good. And he's like, sounds good? And that just infuriated him. At that point, he starts following us towards the corner of the block. And I'm like, oh, boy. And, you know, I'm just getting ready. Doing my stretches, like, getting ready.
So we cross the street. And we keep walking, and the guy does not cross the street.
And what did I tell you?
That if he crossed the street, he would be on the floor.
I was going to knock his ass.
And I believe it because this guy was a skeleton. This man was
100%.
this guy did the robot, and his bones were leaving his body.
Yeah,
like,
but that makes a lot more sense now that he thinks I said it to him when you were the asshole who psyched the street.
I psyched him.
Why'd you psych the street
What a
performer?
dickhead, Dylan.
Dickhead.
Don't do the robot. It's 11 p.m., bro. Don't do the robot.
Bro, I high-fived like what was probably a crackhead, and my brain couldn't process that I shouldn't have high-fived him, but I think I made his day.
Also, might I just add, there's a specific
Jared.
reason I'm wearing these today. When we went to the concert, I wore my overalls with a hoodie, and he would not stop. He was like, look at this pussy in suspenders, and I'm literally like, they're overalls, and he's like, they look like suspenders. Like, bro, you don't even know the fucking difference, my guy. But, you know, then we went and got donuts. But it's nice to know that Dylan was the one who put us in that stressful predicament.
Yeah.
Cool.
That would have been your fault at the end of the day. So.
What, our fault that we knocked out a guy who was probably doing illegal stuff earlier in the day, and then we leave?
Do what I had to do.
Yeah.
I'm just protecting my friend Dylan.
Yeah.
And then and then I should add that before we went to the 24-hour cafe, we stopped again at the head shop to refuel again.
Correct.
Because I definitely needed it. And then we got some fucking donuts.
Mm-hmm.
That place was pretty hype.
It was.
Damn.
Under the table.
That's pretty hype.
He swerved like under me.
I took a picture. I'm going to post it, and I'll show you in person. Look at this, Jerry. You're going to be like... Go.
Bro, when I saw that, because
the guy chasing?
No, yeah. This was only one half of the donut rack. There was a whole other half. This was like the more colorful half with like strawberry.
We'll put it up, I guess.
The fruity
So
pebbles
we know what
and
we're
stuff.
talking about.
Ooh, what's this top one?
The other half
That's
was
it.
like the traditional ones, like
Yeah.
crullers and Boston creams and stuff like that. It was pretty fire. It was a stellar
That croissant
place.
donut was
Nice.
It was a cool place. We hung out, talked to the guy for a bit, and then that
nice.
wrapped our night out. You know, concert, almost fisticuffs. Dylan's a dick. Didn't know that. Nice to get some clarity on that story. Now I have to report back to Jose because Jose's gonna find the story way funny.
Yeah.
He already thought it was a fucking ball. But,
That's the goal of the story. Don't high five strangers, or maybe high five strangers.
Yeah, right.
How, depending on what kind of person you are.
And then you know, we ended the night, and I reflected on a good night and realized that it should have been Jerry. It should have been Jerry, because Jerry wouldn't have got me into that. Situation.
No, because the thing is that it would have been funny if you guys did know that situation, and then you guys kill that man because you and Jerry are working out and shit.
Did you see the mugshots of Jerry and I, and you're like, them? Really?
No, you get away with it. You guys are good.
Yeah, but Jerry couldn't make it because Jerry wanted to fucking play Mr. Big Shot. What was Mr. Big Shot?
Yeah, I went on a work trip to Braselton, Georgia.
Whoa.
And
Not
so Jerry was
the A.
not in the A.
He was an hour away from
B.
I was in the
Dylan.
B.
He's in the B. Okay.
Yeah,
In
it's
the
like an
Brussels.
hour-ish away from Atlanta, so we just like had like a shuttle from the airport straight there,
Oh,
and then we were just there the entire time, and it was pretty cool. So we were there for like 3 nights. We were there from like a Tuesday to Friday, and yeah, it was just like maybe like 3 or 4 hours of like actual work, and then just like eating and drinking and hanging out.
I mean, you were in a vineyard, right? Like
Yeah.
a winery.
Yeah, so we like the first day we had like a tour and like a wine tasting thing. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, the grapes that they make here or that they make it out of are kind of like gross stuff.
I was telling Dylan when we were filming the Chef's Son, I was like, well, fucking Dylan. It was like, Jerry pisses me off. I asked him how Atlanta is, and he's like, I ate a grape. Like, bitch, you're on a vineyard. There's hundreds of thousands of them everywhere. We know.
Nah, because they don't grow most of them in New York. They just grow like one. And,
Yeah.
and then they have like in California
You got
and
to
in
have
Italy.
like the source.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, so they bring them all in and then they process it there.
Got you.
Yeah, and then they have these like giant barrels.
And
You
it's
know
like
how-
mostly sour grapes too, I believe. It's like gross kind of grapes. you know?
Yeah. I mean, they have like different stuff.
Mm.
But so, what was I about to say? So I didn't know. You know those like barrels that they have in like TV shows where they have like matte alcohol in that? Guess how much alcohol is in that? Take a guess.
I'm gonna get
How many bottles?
A barrel's worth.
A barrel's worth. How many bottles worth?
A lot, I would assume.
You would assume,
5.
but now I'm gonna think it's like 4.
It's 300.
That's a lot of.
That's a
makes
lot of
sense.
alcohol.
I was gonna guess 100, so
Never
that
mind,
makes sense.
It's not 4. I dug that in.
It's not 4.
Nah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's a lot of
It was
gallons.
pretty. It was chill, you know. Like so when I went to DC last time, I only met like half the company, and then we met like the other half this time, which is like the non-engineers, so it's like more like chill people like us. And it's like a lot of just like Midwest and like Cali and like the South and people stuff.
Fire.
Yeah, like the sales people and stuff like that.
So do you consider yourself a non-chill person?
No, but it's like, you know, like engineers are more like
More introverted, I
Yeah,
guess.
more
They're more
introverted,
introverted,
yeah,
more
I
of
guess that.
quirks. I don't know. I like to think
Yeah.
that Jerry's like the king of the nerds
I
at this
like-
point.
I was
just
Jerry's
talking
the
about
king
this
of the
before.
engineers,
I was
man.
like, "Are you the coolest one there?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "You have to own that." Jerry.
You have
I think
to-
Jerry's the coolest.
You got to
one.
be at
Jerry's
least
gonna be
like top 5 percentile of like the coolest people. I
Exactly.
mean, that's pretty easy. I
Yeah.
feel
Who
most
cares if
places.
you're good at your job. Be
Yeah.
cool at it.
You cool.
Yeah.
Are you cool at it?
You think I strive to be a good teacher?
You want to be the
Fuck
cool
that.
teacher.
Exactly.
But yeah, we were just like hearing stories from like, so like we were just like hanging out at the bar and just with like the CEO and shit and just hearing like startup stories and shit like that.
Nice. Love
Yeah,
that shit.
so they're just like, I don't know, it's cool to like see that perspective, like because you're like it's just work, but to them it's like something else, you know.
Fire.
Yeah.
No. Shout out to the most Jerry's talked on the show and like
Word. I was thinking the same thing. I was
Feels
like,
good,
damn,
man.
feels good hearing Jerry talk.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I kind of like the idea of Jerry. I mean, we've said this before for sure, but Jerry's like the on-field reporter kind of shit, where it's like we send Jerry out, and it's like, Jerry, how is that? It's like, it's good. Grapes. He's like, what's this guy from the weather guy
fucking
from
Ollie.
yeah, Ollie from Family Guy.
Grapes.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain. You know, it's not to tangent. Remember on the other episode, I was talking about how I saw that Seth MacFarlane thing at the end where he like talks about his career. Someone with Phil Lamar, who's the voice of Ollie Williams, and he's like, it's the easiest job in the world. I go in, I talk with Seth. He's like, hey, how you doing? I'm good. I get in the booth, and I'm like, it's gonna rain. And Seth is like, all right, one more time, angrier. It's gonna rain. All right, thanks, man. Have a good day. Like, that was the whole thing. Fucking speaking of people who haven't spoken in a while. Joey, it's been like 2 fucking weeks, dog. What have you been up to, pal?
Whatchamacallit? You know, I'm drawing a blank of what I've been up to, but I have one thing that I heard, and I was like, I want to talk about this.
Okay.
There was a teacher somewhere in one of the southern states, and she made her students, her 5th or 6th grade students, read the illustrated version of Anne Frank's diary. So it's the story of Anne Frank's diary that they make a bunch of 5th, 6th graders read. But this time there was like a comic book, like with illustrations. That teacher got fired and got so many like threats from families, like, how dare you make our children read this? And she was like, is it because of the content of like the Nazis and taking people over, the imagery of guns pointing at people, but like there's no blood, like because they want to keep it, for kids. They said no. It's the part when Anne Frank is talking about her sexuality and her wanting to kiss her best friend at a sleepover. And she was like, that's in the original book too. And she was like, yeah, but we didn't see it. And they were like, it's in the original book that we've been making kids read for like the past 10 years.
I mean, it's such a self-report that they don't read. You know, that's really what it is. Like, I just imagine, like, stupid people when they read a book, they just see the words and go, okay. And close them. No imagination of what that character looked like.
What's bad?
That's it's like what the word, like, I just imagine in their head, like, the character Jim is just the word Jim just walking around, Like,
so like,
They don't visualize.
they have no.
it's just Jim.
It's just text on paper.
Text on paper doing things.
They're doing the stuff.
Man.
But it made me think that like all these parents, if all these like very classic books had illustrations like that, it'd be on like some Fahrenheit, 45, 47. I don't know what the temperature is to burn a book.
I got 2 of them. 451.
There we go. Where people are burning books because I didn't visualize it like that.
People
like,
are
"That's what
doing
it
that
is."
now. I mean, book burning's been a thing. I'm not saying that people aren't, but like it's actually becoming like a repopularized thing where like, you know, especially like Southern Baptist churches,
Right.
the hate churches and stuff like that are burning all these books that have this shit. And it's like there was literally a science fiction novel written about this, and it's starting to happen. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
I don't-
We didn't read that either.
Exactly.
There was no illustrations.
The fact that also that book burning is back in the year of our Lord 2023, when like I would love to show any of those pastors to be like, all right, go on like heavy R and look up gay porn, and then come back to me.
That's
then,
what you need to start there.
That is the epicenter of
Send
this.
him that video.
I don't
Send him that video of that guy who nares his butthole on YouTube.
There we go.
There you go.
There you go.
This. Start here.
Aside from that, I saw The Exorcist Believer. That was pretty fun.
What a solid segue. That was
Yeah.
great.
That was pretty scary, like the butt thing.
Yeah, terrifying.
Just a real quick my opinions about the movie. I thought the movie was pretty good. A lot of OG Exorcist fans were like, "It's shit! Oh my god, they ruined a classic." I was like, "No, it was pretty good." And I had some family members that also agree that it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but it was pretty good. This time, instead of it being one girl like Reagan, it's two girls. Two girls go into the forest, go missing for like 3 days, and then get found in like a barn. And they're like, "Where are we?" And they're like, "How long have you been missing?" And they're like, "I don't know, like a few hours." And they're like, "You were gone for 3 days." They go to the hospital. They do some checkups on their body. They're perfectly fine. But when they go back to their homes, Exorcist shit. They're twitching. They're climbing. They're teleporting and stuff. But the reason it's called Believer is because there's two families. There's a black family and a white family, and the black father doesn't believe in any of this. He says there's a scientific reason for this, and I'm just gonna put my daughter in a home, and that's the sad truth that's what I'm going to have to do.
The movie should just get a 6 out of 10 right there for that. It's the most unrealistic shit I've ever heard in my life.
And the neighbor is like, "No, I think there's something deeper." And then the white family is like, "It might be something deeper," and they work together to locate that. Yeah, it is something deeper. And yeah, it's cool. It's kind of, yeah, a lot of people were like, "Okay, so the gimmick is that there's two of them." It was creepy to see two of them because they're like finishing each other's sentences. They put them back to back and they drill the chairs into the floor, and they're tied to the chairs and they're like putting their heads back to each other. They're talking to each other, finishing each other's sentences, mocking each other's like family's experience as if they know each other's family. And I was like, that's actually intimidating. It kind of felt like, even though there was like mad people in the room, the family, the pastor, the neighbor, the father, it kind of felt like they were still getting ganged up on, even though it was just two girls tied to a chair in the middle.
It's like an extra dynamic. No, that's really interesting.
It was really interesting. Spoilers?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
not gonna see it. I don't think.
All right,
Or I'll see it later
spoiler.
on.
Boom. The demon tells them one of the girls has to live, the other one dies. And then the whole, like, the rest of like the last maybe 40 minutes is them figuring out,
Like
how do we save this without killing one of them? How do we do this? And the father looks at the mother. They have like a brief moment, and they're like, "We choose neither. We choose neither." And they're like, "All right, so then we're just gonna be here the whole fucking night. Then let's do it. All right, we can do this all day." And there's a part where they're trying to like bring the girls back to life, and the black little girl lost her mother in the Haiti earthquake in like 2010. So he runs to get the scarf that her mother had, and he puts it around his daughter, the black father, and he says, "Listen, look, this is your mom. She's with you, and I'm sorry that I did not let you go through her belongings. I was me being selfish, and I'm sorry." And she's with, and then they start noticing their heartbeats were in sync, but they're now out of sync, and they were like the girls coming back. And you see the black girl's like, her eyes are kind of slowly coming back, and she's like, you here, fight it. She's like, "I love you, honey. You need to fight it. You need to fight it." And then the white father just goes, "I choose," and then he says the daughter's name. "I choose like Catherine or something. I choose Catherine," speaking to the demon that said, "Choose one." So he breaks the truce that the father and mother says about them choosing neither. And he's like, "I choose this one. My daughter. I choose this one." And then both of them just drop to the floor.
Wow.
And then we think that like, oh shit, like did the black girl die? And like the father's holding her and he's crying. But then the black girl wakes up and she's fine. And she's like, "What happened? What happened?" And then they're going to the white girl. They're smacking her. Wake up, honey, wake up." And then it shows the white girl like waking up, and she's just in a dark room. And the words of the father echoing, "I choose Catherine. I choose Catherine." And she's like, "Dad, I choose Catherine. I choose Catherine." And then you hear you choose Catherine. And it grabs the girl and like pulls her down like a black puddle. And she basically dies. And it was like it was a trick. Like, one lives, one dies.
And you
choose.
chose the death one.
And the choice was the death.
Nice.
So he tricked them in that sense. And then the kind of life goes back to normal. There's a brief moment of like, the devil wants you to give up hope, and we need to just be the ones to believe in it, fight against it, this and that. And she goes back to dual school, sits and looks at her chair, and the chair of her white friend is empty, and then the movie just ends. And I was like,
Silly
wow.
white people.
they died.
No, I see why people hated this movie. I can tell why people hate it.
I hate this.
It's just an ending that you're like, fuck, that didn't need to happen. Like, it just seemed, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that might just
So
be
you
me.
think all the hate comments are from like white people that are like, of course they killed us.
a little bit, but I think it's just more of people being like, oh, they just figured it out. They just gotta, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I feel like that
there was a moment where, I'm just like an empathetic person, but I was kind of like, oh, damn. Like, you got to see that family grieve. The mother and father of that family got a divorce. And I was like, damn, our protagonist, like the black family was more the focal point of the movie. But I still had empathy for the other family. I was like, oh, damn, like their life is ruined.
And that's why my problem with like horror movies also is just like, I don't know, I feel like a horror movie shouldn't have like a really bad ending because the whole movie's terrible. Like, it's like scary and suspenseful. So it's like when you make the movie bad at the end, it's like not, I don't know, personally speaking, I don't like.
I'm going to bring this up, and every horror movie person knows this movie, Hereditary. It starts on a horrible point, ends on a horrible point, but it's still so praised. It's still like,
that one,
damn,
everyone says that one's good.
If you haven't seen it, watch it.
It's just high art. I mean, it's like, it's I don't want to get into it, but you take all the horror shit away. Like, Ari Aster's just a visionary. Like, you put him in any genre and he's probably going to nail it. Some people are just like that. But, yeah.
That's what, yeah. And Frank, LGBTQ icon, and the Exorcist believer, pretty good.
Yeah, those two things together right there.
I haven't seen a movie in forever, like in a theater.
Get like a... No, never
I saw
mind.
The Equalizer 3. You want me to review it again on the podcast? So Denzel Washington's in Italy.
No.
I still, like, in my head, I don't want to see that movie because
it's on digital. We can watch it right after.
Because yes, I do maybe, but I love the idea of Denzel Washington being an assassin and him loving Italy.
How about this? How about we watch only the scene of him loving Italy?
Thank you. Yes,
we could do that. No
he's
action.
He's just like,
yeah.
Movie ends.
Bro, speaking of celebrities and Italy, in Italy. I went to a food festival called EATSCON, which interestingly enough, I didn't even know I was going to. I said it before the podcast. Apparently, my parents said yes to it to my uncle like a way long time ago, and he showed up at our house on Friday and he was like, yo, you ready for Sunday? And we were like, oh, yeah, sounds good. But it was essentially, it's this food festival that's run by a company called Infatuation.
Okay.
I honestly do not know what they do. I have no idea. I'd be interested to look it up.
I probably know them just based on the food stuff, but we'll see.
But based on how the guy who's like the co-founder, I think, because he was there like talking to the people, he was basically saying that like this event is kind of like the first thing that they've done that's gaining them like attention and notoriety as a business or whatever. And with that, they had like actual celebrity endorsements. There were celebrities that were there. I bumped into a couple, and it ended up being a pretty cool experience. So I just like to share not only my experience at EATSCON, but of course,
what did you eat?
What I ate at EATSCON. Exactly. So, we got there at about noonish. We snuck in. It was cool. The first thing I had was breakfast because I skipped out on breakfast.
Hell yeah.
My Uncle Jesus told me we had to go to Tompkins Square Bagels. Which,
I know. I know of this place.
Had a bacon, egg, and cheese on an everything bagel. Sad to report, I'm probably going to give it like a 6 out of 10. Wasn't really like anything different from any other, like bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel that I've had. But I've heard from multiple people, including my uncle, say that you have to just go there. And even like you could tell like it was an old bagel. Like it'd probably been out for like a day or something like that. So, not a great start, but it does get better, which is good, Eventually, we made ourselves out to like a little courtyard area where there were more food vendors. My uncle stood on the MLB line because they had like an MLB outdoor lounge where you could stand online to take a picture with the World Series trophy.
Oh, shit.
You couldn't touch it though.
Yeah,
but you could take a picture with it. And it was cool. They give you like a swag bag where you could pick like 2 things, and they had like blankets, beanies, all this cool stuff. And there was just a guy giving away Yankees tickets. Like my mom just got 2 free Yankees tickets. And then what was funny is we were looking for something to eat, and I meet up with my parents, and they're like sitting at a table with my uncle and stuff. And I look up and I see this like tall white guy just like walking down to like a middle table. And I look at my dad, and my dad is looking at the guy in the exact same way that I'm looking at him. And my dad looks at me, and he's like, and I'm like, that's Chris DiStefano, right?
Yeah.
And it ended up being, popular comedian Chris DiStefano. And what's funny about that is not only am I a big fan, but I showed my dad Chris like 2 years ago, and he became a huge DiStefano fan, to the point where I'll be setting up the podcast downstairs. I go onto YouTube, and like pre-written is Chris DiStefano comedy, this, that. Like he's a big fan of his. So my dad's like, yo, I'm going to say his name. I'm going to say Chris. And then you take a picture with him just to like guarantee that it's him. Yeah. So he's like, Chris. And he like turns, and it's like, oh, it is him. So I was like, hey, can I get a picture? He's like, yeah, sure, bud. It was like a real quick thing. And he, he puts his arm around me. Here's a picture of me and Chris. And we were like talking mid-picture. And I was like, you went to Malloy, right? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I went to Malloy too. And he's like, not for school, but for life. Like that's the school motto. And I was like, ah, shit. And I was like, sick. And then Questlove was there too, just like walking around. Dope. Fucking, I'm going to get all the other ones out of the way because I want to talk about too. Hassan Minaj was there. He did like a stand-up special with some friends. That's about the time we left, but it was cool to see him. They did a sit-down talk with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Oh, that's cool. Where they just talked about drinking wine and playing PGA off like on PS5 off season. That's pretty much what they talked about. And last but not least, at the beginning of the panel, they had, or rather the beginning panel, was that of Charlie Day and Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. 2 legends. Which, as you know, big fans of. Those guys are my homies, right? Love their podcast. Love It's Always Sunny. Love them as creators. Really cool to see them like sit down and just like be kind of real and open and honest about like the processes and like the creative things that they go through. And what was interesting is like there was a part where they were even giving like advice to like, they even said to like anybody who's out there who wants to start it up as like a creator, a writer, a comedian, whatever, an actor. And they were basically like, make a lot of stuff, like make sure you're creating.
Yeah, you gotta create. That's like that's the first step.
Glenn said to make sure you surround yourself with people who won't lie to you, people who have good taste, who will tell you if something's not good enough so that you can better it and then make it better in the future, stuff like that. And then one thing I really liked that he ended up saying was like, just don't be afraid to make satire, because I feel like satire is dying. He's like, people are afraid to tap into it because we live in such a sensitive world, but at the same time, satire is so necessary because it's like one of the healthiest way to cope with the
parody and satire are like the main.
And I was like, it's absolutely true.
drivers.
Like you barely see it anymore. Even the satire that you do see, that's quote unquote like for the masses, like SNL and stuff like that. It's really watered down. It's usually like family stuff, But it's really interesting in that so few people are willing to touch those touchy points just to make a joke out of it or to make you think about it. So I was like, I kind of want to start doing that myself. So it was kind of cool I was going to EATS, kind of didn't know I was going to get a whole fucking meet my heroes and fucking learn about
some inspo.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was kind of interesting. And then to wrap it up, I had, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called a cachito or cochita or something like that. Okay. It's a Venezuelan bread. And then inside of it is ham and bacon.
Okay, I've heard of this. Yeah, I've seen this on the menu.
If I'm being honest, the best part about it was the bread. That shit was fire. Shit was like an 8 out of 10. That shit was like, I could have just eaten the bread without the stuffed meat, and I would have been perfect.
Yeah, I remember one time Jose brought me to a Colombian bakery, and to this day, that is the best fucking bread I've ever had.
Yeah, Colombian bakeries are good
South
too.
American bread. Now they do something, bro.
So it was a Venezuelan bakery from Miami. They were called Caracas. They were really, really good.
Caracas. I wanted to say that's also the name of the Venezuelan by me, but that's also just the capital of Venezuela. So.
Fucking, I had pizza from a place called Wizard Hat Pizza in Prospect Park, I think, maybe. It was okay. It was like, the best way I could describe it is, you ever had that really like fancy pizza that's mainly sauced, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was kind of like that, but $5 a slice. I don't know if I was vibing with it. Give it like a 7 out of 10. What was the thing that was really good?
No, you were there. You got to tell us.
I just don't remember where it was because somebody else got it. It was. I'm sorry, I can't credit the restaurant. It might have been an Italian spot, but my dad bought my aunt, because she loves Nutella. She bought her a beignet. Okay. And it was like
a Nutella beignet.
Nutella beignet, with the powdered sugar and all that stuff. And that looked good. I wasn't able to taste it. But then from the same bag, he pulled out a second beignet, no powdered sugar, Italian style, marinara, cheese, tomatoes, salami.
So like a ravioli stromboli, essentially.
But like soft, like you bite right into it, like flaky.
Oh, that's crazy,
bro. Easily 9 out of 10. I really wish I could quote it out. It might have
take
been
a picture
from Bobby's Beef. I took pictures of everything except that. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I took pictures of the bagel, the cachito.
He knows
thing
what
that
it
I
is. He's
ate.
holding it out on us.
You know, no, I fucking wish I did. There was a place called Bobby's Italian Beef, and everybody made a joke. It might have been them. I don't know, but now I have to look into this, man. That was fucking delicious. All in all, EATSCON was a pretty solid experience. It was a good time. Considering it was something I didn't really expect to do, I'm hyped. It was fun. You know,
It was dope.
I learned a lot. I ate a lot,
Very
You
jealous.
left a
Food convention
And
can't go wrong.
and I drank some gin.
Nice.
And everything, all the drinks were free, which is pretty cool. Like water, and it was sponsored by Coke, so free Coke Zero.
Yo.
Like, it was just kind of cool, considering you have to buy like all the food. It's kind of nice to know that you can wash it down with free drink.
It was. I mean, it's a cool setup. Famous people there.
Yeah.
Like it's all.
And also, I'd never been to Forest Hills Stadium, so
Oh,
that
it
was
was
pretty
there.
cool. And not only that, since it's laid out like a festival, like you actually kind of get to walk, like on stage, behind stage, like all the different places you wouldn't normally have access to. It's like free. So I not only got to go, I got to actually like see every nook and cranny of the place, which was pretty cool too. So
Nice.
that was my EATSCON experience. It was fire.
Very nice.
Does anybody have anything else to say?
You got EATSCON. I have Comic-Con this weekend,
But
where I'm about to comic.
But we're gonna wait for that because we're doing next episode on Sunday again, so we can get Joey's Comic-Con Man on the Street.
Yo, those are always fun.
Next year, I'm gonna buy a ticket and follow you with a camera and a microphone and make you talk to people.
I'm down. I can do that.
Joey's cosplay corner.
No, even what makes this even better though is that Comic-Con's known for having a lot of famous people. So if we get a small posse around Joey and you filming him, Joey's now just famous.
That's it.
He's now just a famous
could,
person. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And I do cosplay, so people will look at the pretty
This is a
detailed cosplay and be
professional.
like, this guy's
But all the
What is
questions
this?
are slightly comedic.
Team Joystick? Yeah. Who'd win in a fight, Spider-Man or
Elsa.
Elsa?
Well, we have a YouTube video here to prove it to you, and you're fucking wrong. Get out of here, nerd.
Tatiana met Spider-Cuz.
It'd be mad funny if you go to like Comic-Con and you're like interviewing, like, I'm here with this fucking nerd at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
What do you like, anime? Look at this guy.
Stupid.
I bet he likes fucking superheroes. Anyway.
And meanwhile, I'm like dressed as like
Yeah,
Goku. I'm just this. Anyways.
No, kind of like on the nerd spiel, the last thing I wanted to bring it into, because it's like a weird thing. I was going to say we're in October, which is nice. And I feel like usually this would be the part where we talk about fall weather, spooky time coming.
Mm-hmm.
But in a weird way, it just felt like developers were waiting for October to drop all these fucking games, like the October to November season. So like all these huge games are coming out. And like I'm excited for each and every single one of them.
Pre-Christmas
Spider-Man comes
rush.
out in like 12 days.
We got Spider-Man coming out. We got Ghost Runner 2 coming out. Then we got Modern Warfare 3 coming out. And the beta came out for that. And that shit is giving me nostalgia like crazy. It's insane. Watching these fucking maps I used to play on 12 years ago.
Word.
People are dropping nukes on them again. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
This
it's
is
been fun.
crazy.
That's gonna
It
be.
has been
that's
fun.
gonna be
I can't
fun.
lie.
Have you seen it? Have you-
Yeah. I've been looking. I'm gonna get it.
Yay, we're all gonna play this.
They have they had Favela, Skid Row, and Estates. And then they added
Rust today.
And was
They
there
added
another
Rust
one, or
today.
am
I need to
bugging?
play it.
I feel like there might have been another.
There's
one.
a big map, like a ground war type map.
I feel like there was another, but whatever. Anyway, I'm just excited. I'm excited.
I'm
super
excited.
hyped. I'm
The
excited.
maps are trickling in.
I'm especially excited for Spider-Man. I mean, if anybody played Spider-Man 1, Joey doesn't even need to tell you. I'll tell you, it's a 10 out of 10 fucking game. Even Miles Morales, you know, you can say what you want about it being a standalone DLC instead of a game. It's still pretty good. It's still a decent experience. But Spider-Man 2 looks like it's going to blow both out of the water.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a bad game. We don't know. We'll see.
Imagine
It
there's
could
a
flop.
there's a really
Even
small percent that it's going to be a bad
Even
game.
the soundtrack is off. It's
Yeah,
like a
right.
bad soundtrack.
It's Uncle Aaron's soundtrack, bro. Uncle Aaron's beat that he's been making.
And low-key, I'm just going to segue into that because I found that really funny. Shout-outs to the primarily Smash content creator, Coney. Because on his stream last week, this past week, he did a tournament bracket to determine the worst video game song of all time. And boy, did I hear some fucking garbage songs from video games.
Is number one from Spider-Man?
Oh, I heard that
No.
Spider-Man one.
The
Somewhere.
Spider-Man, it was the Fun
It was
House.
a video on Instagram that I saw.
That might have been it actually, but there was a. I know, you know what I think it was. I think it's so bad that they intentionally didn't put it on the list because it would have like immediately like lost So it was-
Lost as it won?
or won rather for
Yeah.
being the worst. But man, did I hear some weird shit. And then weirdly enough, the intro to RoboCop from Game Boy Advance is like one of the best things I've ever heard. It's like, what the
Interesting.
fuck?
I gotta hear it now.
It was like it was supposed to be one of those, you know, those memes where it's like we just need something simple.
Oh yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
composer.
Yeah, the guys.
And it's usually like that. This one was so intricate. It was like, all right, so it's just the theme for RoboCop, the video game for Game Boy Advance, nothing personal. And then it says composer who's recently thinking about knowing what it was like to have a love that was really pure and knowing that it was just special enough to have that when he said goodbye it still hurt or whatever. And then he plays it and it's like, damn, I kind of feel that. What the fuck? Like, that's the RoboCop.
Shoutouts to video game soundtracks.
And shout outs to the new RoboCop video game.
Yeah,
It's getting love hate. I don't know if y'all
Oh, is
seen
there a
that.
new game?
Have you seen that?
it looks interesting, but at the same time looks boring.
It looks boring because the test footage is just like a tanky guy who decimates people with a gun, but everybody's like, it's the perfect RoboCop game. Like, that's what it's supposed to
I mean,
be
that's
like.
yeah. Like
You don't look like you can die. It's just
Yeah.
bang. Like,
I mean, that's kind of what he's a robot. Yeah, they can't fucking get him.
Cop.
nothing could stop him.
Robert Cop. All right.
Robert.
I can give this to a child and they'll they'll be walking into walls and still win.
Well, without further ado, it is time for Jam Yam Bam Slam of the Week.
Yay.
Shoutouts to Drizzy for dropping an album. That was a fun one. Have any of y'all heard that one yet?
No, but I heard
Nah.
it dropped.
It's got some bangers in it.
I heard that he has an accent in some songs.
Nice.
He got a lot of features in it.
Yeah.
I like the J. Cole song.
Yes, sir.
That one's good. Fucking
What songs you like?
I mean, I'll go real quick.
App's not loading.
I had kind of a big week for music. Like even to today, I was finding music. So I have 15 possibilities for a potential jam of the week. But I picked this song that's a little different from what I've been picking recently. I feel like I've been picking a lot of like hip hop or like beat influenced stuff. And today I'm picking a song by the band Coletta called Blossom. Which is I don't know if they're technically a math rock band. I know that they're like a post-hardcore or like post kind of pop rock ish kind of band, but I kind of find it funny considering that the entirety of the song is backed by a marimba riff, and it sounds really dope. It's pretty cool.
That's very.
I wanna hear
cool.
it.
If you've ever thought of what math rock and marimba would sound like, check out Blossom by Coletta.
That sounds actually pretty fire. Yeah, my yam of the week is like in the vein of yours. It's a mix of several genres. It's Spit by Rory 404. The best way I could describe this is like, I don't know, your classic like emo rap, hyper pop style, and then midway through it just turns into dubstep. Yeah, but like electronic dubstep, not like overly wubby dubstep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rory. He makes
Yeah.
good shit.
My slam comes from the band Belmont since they dropped a new song, but it's not their new song. I went into my liked songs by them and I picked this one called 4 a.m. / disappear. It's probably because they probably liked both titles and they didn't know which one to pick. So Belmont 4 a.m. / disappear. It starts off like an emo rap song and then it transitions into a very like loud pop punky mosh song. It's a pretty dope song.
Very good song. Love that song.
Cool.
So my BAM this week is going to be another new hip hop album, not Drake's album. It is the album produced by The Alchemist, the Earl Sweatshirt album. Yeah, and he's got some features with Vince Staples on there. He has 2, but I'm gonna go with The Caliphate.
Fire.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a very slow song. You know how Earl is.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Yo, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a fun time. Make sure you go ahead and like this episode of the Joystick Show. Lots of stuff we had to talk about. Lots of stuff that had to be gotten off of the chest.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we did it. Go ahead and subscribe if you're feeling like it. That'd
If
be
you
cool.
want.
That would help us a lot. I have to burp really
Do it.
unprofessionally. Sorry about that. Excuse me. And thanks for just stopping by, hanging out with us. It's been cool. Make sure to go ahead and check out Joystick because we're actually putting out different shit finally.
Yay.
We're up to episode 2 of season 1 of The Chef's Son.
Woo.
So stay tuned for that. Comes out every 2 weeks. We
You
got
want to
some-
watch me eat a fish?
Yeah.
Go for
Watch
it.
me make a fish.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have some other cool content up there as well. We're coming into some some Halloween territory. So get ready to get spooked out, super spooky. And I would just like to take a minute to apologize to YouTube. We're sorry, YouTube. We won't break the rules again. From now on, we're just gonna be upstanding citizens and model YouTubers, because that's what we should do.